Welcome back to the Reier on YouTube channel. We are live on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm Travis Reier. He's Evan Reier, and we're talking Jacksonville Jaguars here on No Sleep TEAL, a program dedicated to discussion about Duval. And Evan, after that 26-21 win over the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday out in Santa Clara, I'm not saying the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the Super Bowl. All right. I'm just saying, go ahead and book your reservations. Yeah, they're probably going at this point, right?
Yeah. Like you kind of said, last episode, you've already been to Levi Stadium twice. I haven't gotten to go yet. So
You ready?
I'm looking for my first opportunity this February. But yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, it's the most amount of optimism I've probably had since 2017. I mean, even in 2022, as awesome as that was to kind of, run the table and get into the playoffs at the end of that season. This feels a little bit different, because you kind of got out ahead. You've beaten, not just kind of some former demons by beating a team like the Texans at home, but really more former demons. You just went into San Francisco
out
and
west.
won. Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive to see what Liam Cohen's been able to do, just really from just a belief standpoint with this team, because it's not like this roster is that much different from last year.
No, and defensively, revelation in a lot of
Yeah.
ways under Anthony Campanelli. We talk about beneficiaries of change. Devin Lloyd, at this point, I
Oh
would
my
say a
goodness.
pretty big benefitter from
Yeah.
what has transpired here in the last 6 or 8 months. But yeah, my last trip out there to Levi Stadium, Trevor got the win in that one too. You wouldn't have enjoyed that one as
Yeah.
much as his Clemson Tigers took apart the Alabama Crimson Tide. It wasn't that prolific of a performance this time for Trevor, but the Jags +4 in turnover margin, and you get a special teams touchdown from Parker Washington. I don't care where you're going, who you're playing. You put those type of things together and you get a 100-yard performance from Travis Etienne, you're typically going to win those kind of games, Ev.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the blueprint,
Yeah.
I mean, this is what winning for the Jaguars are going to look like. And, something interesting, I mean, kind of hopping into the post game comments right away is that, I think, I forgot who asked Cohen, hey, like, you're winning ugly or whatever. And Cohen was like, I mean, we're controlling
Right.
the game. Like,
Yeah.
which, I mean, they are. I mean, really, that's the thing is, you can say whatever you want about, other teams are making mistakes and whatever, but there's something to be said about the Jaguars kind of putting them off balance and not making them feel comfortable. And yeah, it might be ugly in a sense, but really the Jaguars are just setting up in a way that encourages close games at the very least, but also right now 3 straight wins. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about that. I thought Trevor overall played pretty good. The second half was pretty rough for offensively in general, but I mean, just about every time they needed Trevor to make a throw, he did, and no turnovers. That's always a massive thing.
No sacks allowed. So the Bosa effect with him out for the Niners in that pass rush, obviously the Jags were able to benefit from that. But the Jags had to make some adjustments to that offensive line in game too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't a textbook from start to finish in terms of first five. And I thought those guys responded pretty well. And it probably did impact things, you got to think, there in the second half. But as we talked about, if Trevor's around 31 pass attempts and he's not sacked and he doesn't turn the ball over, that's usually going to be a winning formula in and of itself for this team too, based on the way they want to play.
that's kind of something we talked about in the first 2 weeks. Is Trevor went over 40 pass attempts in each game, and they lost one of those games. 31 here. Really, really nice. Offensive line, like you said, was exceptional. Fun stat from Next Gen Stats is that through the first 4 weeks, the Jags are number 1 in sack percentage on offensive line, second in pressure percentage, and fourth in yards before contact. As in, ETN is getting, I think ETN and Co. are getting 2 yards before they're being touched. most
Yeah.
of the time. That's, I mean, you're always going to be, looking at 4 to 5 yards each time. And that's a beautiful thing. I also want to, real quick, just because we kind of mentioned Burger Washington and hopped on, he kind of needed that in the same way that BTJ needed his big reception last week, because Parker Washington hadn't exactly had, the dynamic start that we were maybe hoping for, especially with Delami Brown out last week or on Sunday.
Yeah.
He had a couple of mistakes on offense. For him to go and turn the game on its head with that was the exact type of play the Jaguars needed, because the 49ers were starting to feel it. They were getting back in the game. The crowd was getting back in the game. To shut that down right again, that was big for Parker.
It was kind of something he did when we were in London last year, wasn't it, against the
Yeah,
Pats?
yeah, he did the
It
same
was
exact thing. Yeah,
reminiscent of that in a lot of ways. That 87-yard punt return for a touchdown in Santa Clara, 5-point game. Man, those things show up very, very big. But what about Brian Thomas Jr.? 7 targets in the game. He did catch the ball 5 times,
yeah,
49 yards. We talked last Saturday before this game, or last week, about, it may be more of a Mike Evans type of stat line for him on in some weeks. In other words, it's not always going to be 7 for 130 and 3. Some weeks it might be 6 for 50 or 5 for 50. Do you feel better about him after this latest performance? They also handed him the football in the run game too to get him a touch there for a 7-yard pickup. Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter also had an explosive play of 28 yards in this game at the receiver. You feeling better about that duo after the first couple of 3 weeks based on what you saw against the Niners?
yeah, for sure. I think, it was pretty evident that the Jaguars entered this game saying, we're going to get BTJ like just on some bread and butter routes, some stuff that, he's going to be able to get off of Lenore and just make the grab. Who knows? He might be able to go longer with it, but, with some yards after the catch. But we want to make sure he's just catching the ball. And that's what they did. It felt like every single catch was like an out route, right? Like where you just let BTJ run a really good route and he's going to just have an easy catch, which I like that. I like the strategy there. Obviously, Travis Hunter kind of made I would say, the catch of the game. That grab on 3rd and 15 in your own, like on your own 10 or whatever it was. I mean, that's insane. Trevor throws a pretty good ball there, but hospital ball kind of all the same. But that's what you got to do on 3rd and 15. If you're going to, air it out for the sticks,
Yep.
somebody's probably going to have to get laid out a
It's
little bit.
that, or you check it down and punt. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the
exactly.
type of plays you're going to have to make. Does it worry you in terms of the lack of explosive plays in a game like this? Or for you, was this all about efficiency because of the flow of the game and how it was kind of working in the Jags' favor for much of it? Trevor averaging just 5.6 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
And again, in terms of a long passing play in the game, the 28-yarder to Travis Hunter, that was it. The next longest pass play for the Jaguar offense on Sunday was a 14-yarder to BTJ.
Yeah. No, I think that was partially due to the 49ers defensive game plan. I think Salah, because they've had, some issues at safety, I think Salah went too high all game. There wasn't exactly a ton of opportunities for Trevor to find a guy, 40 yards down the field. They've kind of got a weak safety group, so I thought they might still be able to punish that all the same. But whatever. I thought Trevor was
That's
smart.
probably, to your point, part of the reason why you were able to run it like you were
Yeah,
able to run it.
yeah.
If
I mean,
somebody wants to play 2 safeties deep and let you run for $150 in this league, you'll take the $150 every week.
I think what the 49ers defensive game plan was that, yeah, exactly. They were going to try and force Trevor to just make accurate throws
See
and
if patient.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if he was going to be patient and also kind of trust in their defensive line group to, at least in Fred Warner to, probably prevent the run. But they weren't able to do that as the issue. And I think a big thing is when you're able to get a big offensive explosive run like that ETN touchdown, that 48-yard run, that kind of set that game, that defensive game plan off its balance a little bit. they weren't really after that point able to defend the run all that well.
Yeah.
Tootin was even, fine with his 4 handoffs and, as the backup. And, yeah, I mean, it was just really, really well done. Like I said, you can say what you want about winning ugly, but Cohen seems to know how to deal with these kinds of situations.
Yeah. Warner had a near interception. That was a little bit of a
He
touching
had two
moment.
two near
couple of
interceptions.
couple of
Yeah,
the bottom line is the INT column was clean, but
yeah, yeah,
clinched a couple of times, didn't you, on a
yeah,
few
for
of
sure.
those throws from Trevor. Uh, Defensively, for this football team, it's borderline astounding what they continue to do in terms of takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I texted you during the game was this can't last forever. You can't.
Question mark?
Uh, I mean, like 3 to 4 takeaways a game is not something really sustainable
Mm-hmm.
long term. But I mean, they just find ways to turn the ball over, and they're doing it in a bunch of different ways. It's not just like they're getting lucky in certain situations. It's batted passes at the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
It's guys like Dennis Gardeck. It seems like everybody on this team knows how to punch the damn football, and it's
Hey,
awesome.
bring it.
Like, I
And
mean,
you thought it would be a Gardeck game, which
uh,
it was, because the Niners love that 21 personnel with the two backs, the fullback, and Christian McCaffrey, who, by the way, had a big game catching it.
yeah,
Not so much running it in
yeah,
comparison to ETN, but he is still, there's questions about him, I know, but as a receiver, he can still be a problem like he was on Sunday.
yeah. He did steal Jack Kaiser's soul on that reception
Your
touchdown.
boy, your
Yeah,
boy Jack.
I that was rough. Kaiser looked pretty bad. There were a couple of different really bad spots.
Rookie.
Rookie, it's tough. You
Yeah.
give him a pass, but while one quote unquote backup linebacker didn't have a great day, Gardeck was, yeah, we said he would probably be involved pretty heavily. He was up to the task. I mean, not only after that forced fumble, he had, I think, back to back punt tackles,
Yeah,
that
he's
were
so
really
good
nice.
on special teams,
He's so
man.
good on special teams. But no, I mean, yeah, Christian McCaffrey is still Christian McCaffrey. The guy that I was a little more worried about that, had one really big grab, but other than that was shut down, was Ricky Pearsall. I actually thought overall the Jags did a really solid job of just not allowing him to, do more after the catch like he wants to.
Got
You know,
banged
he,
up a
he's
little bit in the game, Pearsall. Sounds like it's a PCL
yeah,
for him, the former Florida Gator. Between Tonges and McCaffrey, though, 9 catches for 150 yards.
yeah.
Tight end, running back, man, they're still difficult to deal with in that offense of Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, something's got to give, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the Jaguars, that's really the only spot that they really gave. I mean, you kept it under 4 yards per rushing attempt, which is, really, if we're talking about the steps of, defending an offense, that's the first one, especially against the 49ers. If you
Mm-hmm.
let McCaffrey or if you let Brian Robinson Jr. just start picking up 6-7 yards on every carry, you're not going to win that football game ever. So you start there. Obviously the kind of safety valves for Brock Purdy, Tonjes especially. He looks pretty promising right now. I'm not gonna lie. That looks like he's kind of entering a breakout role. Something's got to give. I'm cool with what they gave to Purdy because at the end of the day, you forced 3 turnovers off that one dude, off Purdy. So
Yeah, I mean, and a ton of guys out. We talked
yeah,
about this for the Niners are
yeah,
banged up. So this was an opportunity. This was teed up for the Jags. They absolutely had to take advantage of an opportunity like that, especially out west. And look, bottom line, every team probably is going to find themselves in a scenario throughout the course of a 17-game season like the Niners found themselves. It'll be the Jags, I'm sure, at some point down the road. They haven't had that issue as much, although they were without De'Ami Brown. You know what I'm not without right now, Evan? I'm not without, we're at
oh,
Party Girl.
that's cheating.
I'm
Oh,
I'm not without the Paw Paws veggie beef soup right now. And you know what else they got at Party Girl? Freshly stocked in that cooler. Look at that. Look at that cheer wine in the bottle, F.
I haven't
Cheer
eaten
wine
lunch
in the
yet, so this is
bottle
really mean.
and some Pawpaw's veggie soup. Oh, how about it, Ev?
That's
You want to
not.
trade right now, my man?
Yeah, I'll trade my
Mm.
dry, empty mouth for pawpaw soup, please. It is not fair that you've got that on
Speaking of
hand.
mouths, what about Liam and Robert Sala?
Yeah,
Post
transition. I like that.
game smoke.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was awesome. That was sick. There was kind of conversation about if Cohen was saying that to Salah because Fred Warner, jumped the snap on the final snap of the game, which I have a comment on that. But it turns out it was not. It was just straight up, hey, Salah, the
Keep my
sign stealing
name out of
comment.
your
I
mouth.
don't like that. That's awesome. That's sick. And if you notice, the 2 or 3 Jaguars that are right there holding him back are laughing and loving it, which is,
They're
I
like,
think,
look at these
something.
old dudes.
Yeah, I think every single member of that team is probably fired up and into that, and that's great because I mean it's just something that the Jaguars haven't really gotten a whole lot of really since I would say even like Marone, like
edge,
like
edginess.
Peterson didn't have
They've been
that.
the good old Jags, Jags.
I mean, hating ass Jaguars is something that Twitter loves to talk about, and
the transformation.
I mean that's what you got to
it.
have. If you want to inspire a team, if you want to kind of give that us versus everybody kind of mentality, those kinds of moments are the kind of thing that you love to see.
I think that exchange is exactly why Salah threw it out there, though.
Yeah,
because he knew Cohen would get kind of amped up about the comment, like it would hit, and it obviously hit.
Oh yeah,
and Salah's hoping maybe that gets Liam a little bit off topic, maybe a little bit more into I'll show him or all this, and really didn't do that. So that's what I took. It was a mind thing that Salah was trying to play, and ultimately Liam got the last laugh on that, or the last word, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, it's I know Cohen had the opportunity to respond to it before the game kicked off,
right?
But he waited until the fists were thrown first before responding.
What about my man Cam Little? You worried about him? Another miss on Sunday. It was from pretty good distance, about what, 48? Yeah. But we do get subs. We get BOGO subs again because he had the 44-yarder, which is what we really care about here on No Sleep Till. We want those BOGO firehouses because you're going to be in town this weekend too.
Sure, I gotta take advantage.
Yeah, Larry. So you're kind of
Larry. I have
away
firehouse
from
up here. I'm not worried about it as much.
Yeah.
But no, it's. I mean, he's human, right? I did kind of have the thought during the game of, Cam Little's probably going to be kicking in more high pressure situations than he was last year. I mean, don't get it twisted. He made some clutch field goals last year, but they were kind of in a lot of games that the Jaguars weren't like, there was no playoffs to worry about.
Or they were 2-9 at the time.
So, I'm having that thought a little bit, but overall I'm not worried.
No.
I mean, really the Jags kind of played a conservative on field goal attempts. Like, pretty early on, there was that chance for them to try like a 60-yarder
or so. Yeah,
it was like 65, and because the wind was crazy,
weird out there, man. You get those winds and stuff out there. It's a different deal altogether out there.
So I'm not. The jury's still out. If we get back to Jacksonville and on Monday night there's some issues, then okay, it could be a problem, but I think the Jags are going to ride with them no matter what.
I think he's fine
for a while. Real quick before we move on, I just wanted to say the thing about Fred Warner, incredible football player.
Yeah,
and
but
good Lord, I don't know if it's only happened in the past year or two, or it's something I was missing previously. That dude is. Like, he loves being an asshole. Dude.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
he is honestly so good at that. I just have to give him credit. Like,
is it Bobby Wagner used to be kind of that same type of player? Dude, I mean, it's the same guys.
It's insane. Like how much
Ray
the Jaguars
Lewis
are driving down the field at various points, and he's talking trash like every single time. I'm like, gosh, darn it. Like, this dude is like pissing me off so much.
Yeah.
But,
no, that's him. Yeah, that's
I mean,
him.
when you're that good, I guess you can talk the talk. But
Yeah, got to be a Hall
um,
of Famer. I got to think.
yeah.
Fred
So,
Warner.
but yeah, I just wanted to mention that because yeah, he jumped the snap. I will say though that isn't on Fred Warner. That's on Trevor for doing the little like 5 seconds before kneeling on the previous play. For whatever reason, Trevor felt like it was necessary to not kneel right away, even though the win was completely secured.
Hmm.
He would like stand up and take a step back and wait. When you do that kind of thing, you're asking a defender to jump over an offensive lineman and try and like snatch the ball out of your hands if you don't just kneel right away.
Right.
And I don't want to say it's Trevor's fault, but Ezra Cleveland got hurt when Fred Warner
Yeah.
jumped on him.
Yeah.
So just maybe next time, let's just kneel. Let's not like do the whole
Right.
like because it
Right.
was already under the 2 minute warning. It's like there was no reason to
Yeah.
to buy an extra 5 seconds or whatever. So
Pretty good Sunday for the Jags from a division
yeah,
perspective too. I
yeah,
mean, the Titans are just terrible, so
yeah, really bad.
I didn't really put a whole lot in the Texans win there. But the Rams did the Jags and the
Yep.
Texans a solid out west, right?
Yeah, and also kind of in a wild, wild situation. I mean, Tutu Atwell, 88-yard touchdown or whatever it was,
Yeah.
78-yard touchdown. I mean, that's a wild way to do it, especially since the Colts led the majority of that game. You're kind of hoping that maybe that was kind of the punch in the mouth that Indy needed to not look so dangerous. But the Rams are really
They'd been a fortunate team too, and it felt a little bit like maybe things evened out for them.
finally, yeah.
You know,
No, I mean, at the end
they're
of the
good.
day,
Don't get me wrong; they're a good football team,
yeah,
but everything had kind of worked out for them through
right.
that start too.
No, they are still absolutely a problem, but the reality is that the Rams are a really, really good team that
And
know
you
how
get
to
them in
win.
London coming up.
Yeah, they know how to win football games. Honestly, if I'm the Jags, getting them in London is kind of best case scenario. I think that's one of those where it's even better
Drag
than
them
you could
over
take.
there. Yeah.
Well, it's just because you've got so much, you are the London team. Like you go over there every
Right.
year. Like, you're very, very used to the process.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get twisted. The Rams have gone too, but not quite as much. This is, I feel like, a good spot for the Jags to potentially beat them.
Got the Chiefs coming up though
But the
first,
Chiefs are the team in the meantime. So it's like,
and then they blast the Ravens. Boy, the
yeah,
Ravens right now.
they
Oof.
look bad. That's the thing is like the Ravens defense is really rough. Like it's not good at all. It
Did
hasn't been
that
good all
Bills
season.
win the way it happened? How the Ravens just puked in that opener? Did it break the Ravens? I mean, the Ravens are tougher than that, though, man. They're
You
typically
would think
a tough, resilient organization from top to bottom, man.
you would think, but I mean, it's sometimes it just it's one thing into another. It only
Yeah,
takes like a couple dominoes to really start to feel
right.
like the walls are closing in, and I think it's kind of shades of the Jags last year. Obviously,
Ugh.
teams in very, very different situations, but the Jags just couldn't get off the ground at the start of the season
Mm,
last year. And we've blinked, and now the Ravens are 1-3, with not an easy schedule remaining.
right,
So it's just, and also Lamar Jackson looks like he might be out for a while. So
right.
it's a really rough spot. I'm saying all this to say that the Chiefs aren't back. Like I want to believe that the Chiefs aren't back, which
Just a
I still
flash.
wonder exactly how explosive they really are.
Got
Um,
Xavier Worthy back, right?
yeah, they got Worthy back. The defense has kind of gotten over some of the injuries they've dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Defense looked a lot better in general against the Ravens than they had necessarily in previous weeks. But it's like I don't think I'm putting a ton of stock into that game, just because again the Ravens feel cursed right now. That doesn't feel like the Ravens we
Yeah,
expected.
yeah.
Um,
Well, we'll get
so
into the Chiefs coming up later in the
this
week.
week, yeah,
Yeah, we'll preview that later in the week. But you had a good weekend, Ev. You had the Reier, Alabama Jaguars, Quinella
deal.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, all I needed was a Fulham win to complete the
Ah,
trifecta.
geez.
That I think that's happened maybe twice or three times ever in my life that all three teams have won on the same weekend. But next week,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll get there.
It'll
No,
happen.
it was great. Obviously, the Bama game was insane. That was also really cool. You talk about kind of winning ugly in a sense. That's in a way I feel like Alabama had to kind of get a little ugly in that game to pull that off, and they were able to do so. Ty Simpson, I
Yeah.
mean, he's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
He's really really good.
Tyson.
Also, Jam Miller coming back. Jam Miller looks great.
Running back. Yeah.
Jam Miller
Yeah.
looks
Good
really good.
weekend for you, my man.
Yeah, dude, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And
We'll
then
see what next weekend holds.
yeah, I know next weekend's gonna be
Diego
potentially
going to
the
Tuscaloosa.
coming back down to earth of
Diego and
the
the
century.
Doors.
Yeah, if Diego comes in and into Tuscaloosa and does
Ah.
what he did last year, then that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then obviously Monday night will
Yeah. We'll
be
have a lot of
insane as
fun
well.
down at the
Uh,
bank. Look forward
yeah,
to it.
apparently Johnny Manziel is going to be on Vandy's sideline.
I saw something about that.
I
And
don't know if that's
I
fake
guess
news
that's
or what.
real. It's in this day and age, I see stuff like that on Facebook or X, and I just go, because there's so much garbage out there right now. It's just like tough to
Yeah,
wait for it
it's
all.
Manziel claiming it. It's Manziel claiming it. It's I'm in a podcast video that I'm looking at right now, but
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Good
That could
deal.
also Johnny
Johnny-
Manziel saying he's going to be on the sideline for something doesn't necessarily guarantee he's going to be on the sideline for
We'll
something.
see.
He could be at Galette's when that game kicks off.
That would not surprise me with
Yeah.
Johnny football.
Yeah.
All
No,
right,
I
my
can't
man.
wait. Should be another good weekend of football.
And we will be back later in the week with No Sleep Till. Get a little more in depth about the Jags and the Niners. Will Tay be at Everbank on Monday night? There's those big questions we got to get answers to later in the week. Ev, as always, a lot of fun, my man. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds good. Can't wait.
Thanks again to Party Girl Avondale, presenting sponsor of No Sleep Till. If you haven't checked out Party Girl and you're in the Duval area, well, the store is located right there where Fairfax and Avondale meet, Herschel and St. John's. Great stuff in here. You saw the vegetable beef soup, chicken salad, pimento cheese. This week, one of the entrees to go is a chopped steak with loaded mashed potatoes, sauteed green beans. It's all getting done right now at Party Girl Avondale, 4205 St. John's Avenue in Duval. For Evan Reier, I'm Travis Reier. Thanks again for joining us right here on No Sleep Till. Until next time, so long, everybody.